Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Hope everyone's doing well. I know I usually do my videos on Tuesdays, but it's been an unusual several weeks, to say the least. The topic I wanted to discuss today, and there were a few in my head, and this kind of ties into a few topics I've discussed already. But the topic I wanted to address was how to learn to relax. And that can be incorporated in many things. But mainly for me, the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because I had a crazy 2 weeks. I was due for my mammogram, and I always go with my mom, and this was 2 weeks ago, exactly 2 weeks ago yesterday, from yesterday. And we went, it was pretty smooth. We were in and out. I mean, it was like 45 minutes to an hour. They were done with us. I was shocked with the two of us. So I'm like, all right, we're good, we're out. That was on a Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I get a call that my doctor wanted me to come in and get additional testing, so like another mammogram and an ultrasound, etc. My mom was good, her stuff was good, she didn't have to come back. So in the past, about 2 or 3 years ago, they did have to remove some liquid from my left side, etc. And then it came out that it was nothing, but they have been keeping an eye on it. Last year, I felt something on my left side, so I remember I went into my OBGYN. They said it was a bone, blah, blah, blah. I had lost some weight at that time. They said it was a bone, fine. Then this year, they tell me this. Usually I go in December, but it trickled in because of the insurance into January. But anyway, long story short, they call me that I need to come in. So I have to get referrals and whatnot. So I go in the portal, I schedule it. The ultrasound is not till March, on my birthday at that, was the earliest date. And then the mammogram, they were able to do it the following week exactly on that Tuesday. So I said, okay, which was not this past Tuesday, the week before. So anyway, I schedule it, I go, and that was only for the mammogram. So when I get there, I tell them I have an ultrasound in March, can we do it today? And they said, well, we'll see if there's time, but right now we only have you for the mammogram. Fine. I go in, they do the testing, they take me to a room, then they come get me again, and they said, actually, we're going to do an ultrasound because we just want to make sure we're all seeing the same thing. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting, nervous. And mind you, I went after work. I scheduled it intentionally after work, in a time slot that I knew I would get out in time to take my youngest daughter to her cooking class, because it was the first day of her cooking class. I was going to take her. It was at 4:15. I got to the hospital like 1:50. My appointment was at I got there like 1:45. Actually, my appointment was at 2. So I'm like, oh, I came with my mom. It was 45 minutes. I'll be out of here in an hour. They took me to take the ultrasound. I go back. And I remember when they were doing the ultrasound, they like marked something, and I'm like, is this concerning? Like, I'm getting worried. And she was like, oh, we all just want to make sure we're looking at the same thing. All right. So then they take me to the room. They're there for a while, then they come back. By this time, it's like 3:15. So I tell my husband, I don't think I'm going to make it in time to take her to cooking. Can you take her and I'll pick her up? Because I'm like, it ends at 5:15. I should be there by 5:15, like on my way, so I could pick her up. They come back and say, actually, now we need to do an additional mammogram, and I'm going to mark the spot. So now they put like a marker on the spot, like a physical marker, like a tape or something. So fine. Now I'm going to the mammogram. Now they do another mammogram. Fine. Then they put me in the room. I'm like, can I get dressed? They're like, no, so just wait. So I'm waiting during all this time. Time is passing. So now it's like 4:15, 4:30, 4:45. Again, I text my husband, I'm still here. I'm not going to make it at 5:15 to pick up our daughter, so you're gonna have to go get her. Fine. Finally, they take me in like 5:20. And the nurse practitioner explains to me, that she does an examination, and then she explains, she gives me 2 forms of paper and says, we have to do further testing, we have to do a biopsy, we're going to insert a little chip in there to mark the spot, blah blah blah. So all this stuff, I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, and I'm just like, breathe, relax, like, just, relax. And then I asked, I said, is it the same spot that they took the liquid biopsy a few years ago? And she looks at my chart and she says, yes, it actually is the same spot. So I'm like, is it that spot grew? Like, what happened? But they don't give me anything specific. But the forms and the paperwork, and she even states, she said, you know what, we're going to do this biopsy. It's, it's an outpatient. You're in and out. They explain the process. I should have someone to drive me, because especially where I was going to do it on the left side, like with the driving or whatnot. Anyway, okay, gives me the paperwork and all that, and then she says there is a possibility then after that biopsy we may have to do another one where we do, instead of just local anesthesia, this is going to be general anesthesia, and we may have to go deeper. So then I'm like, oh my God. But I'm sure this is just a protocol that they have to say in case it does happen. So all right, that was Tuesday. Then the next day, Wednesday, they call me. Like the next day, they said, call your doctor. We're gonna need a referral, etc. Okay, I call my doctor, and through all this, I'm like, relax, like try not to stress about it. I spoke to my husband about it, and he said, relax, it's probably nothing. But then he did ask me, he's like, is it the same side that you were concerned about last year? And I said, yeah. So then I think that kind of worried him. So anyway, long story short, I call my doctor, they send the referral, the hospital calls me like Wednesday early. This was last week, Wednesday. First thing, I think when they opened, it was like 8:20. I called my doctor like 8 o'clock. And they're like, okay, we want to schedule your surgery. So I'm like, all right. She's like, the first available is February 7th. I'm like, are you serious? Like, he told me I have to do this within 2 weeks. At the hospital, they told me this has to, because I told her, is there a time frame when this has to be done? And she said, yeah, within 2 weeks. So they're like, that's what we have available. Mind you, February 7th is my daughter's surgery to remove her tonsils. So I'm like, oh. I said, I can't miss my daughter's surgery, and that's been like a 3-year process to get this surgery scheduled. So I said, what's the next day? So February 10th, that Monday. Great, put me in that day. Meanwhile, I'm stressed out because I'm already stressed out because of my daughter on the 7th. Then that's Wednesday. Fast forward to Friday, last Friday, which was the 17th. I get a call, 8:22. I'm preparing my daughter for school, and I get a call. I see Englewood Hospital, so I answered. And they're like, hey, we received a call that we need to get you in sooner. So can you be here today for 10 o'clock? I said, absolutely, yes, I'll be there. So they squeezed me in for some reason. Mind you, this is getting me more worried because I'm like, they got a call, they need me sooner. So are they worried about this? Are they stressed out? Like, what is happening? So that stresses me out more. And then I'm like, you know what, breathe, relax. Because at this point I could see my daughter's face, because she's like, what is happening? She could see me like fumbling, like nervous. I'm like texting my husband to tell him, listen, we gotta go, we had stuff to do, we had to go get the van at my brother's house, go to Sea Caucus to get merchandise, drop it off at at the building, then take the van back, go home. So I'm like, we're gonna have to go get the van. He has to leave me at the hospital. He has to do what he has to do. So that's what we do Friday. As soon as my daughter gets on the bus, my husband and I leave, and he leaves me at the hospital. I get there early. They check me in, and I wait. My husband was able to go get the merchandise, drop it off at the building, go drop off the van, and come back to the hospital, and he still waited for me an hour at the hospital. So they did everything. They did the procedure. It was uncomfortable. There was some pain with it, soreness, but they did it. So I was glad that it was over with. Then Monday was Martin Luther King Day, so they were closed. Not only were they closed, they said your results will be in like Tuesday, Wednesday, probably Wednesday, since we're closed on Monday, because it takes like 2 to 3 days to review the results. Fine. Thank God yesterday evening or afternoon, they called me, and thank goodness they said, great news. It was benign. It's all good. We just need to see you in 6 months. I guess it's like they do a 6-month thing, and then they said it's going to turn into a yearly thing as long as it's cleared. Fine. The marker's going to stay, whatever the metal marker they put in there is going to stay there, just to keep an eye on it and to know where it was that they did the biopsy from. Moral of the story is relax. We need to relax. I need it. There were several times I had to like take deep breaths, and I relaxed. And I remember while I was in the waiting area, they were doing all these testing on that Tuesday, that I said, you know what, God, whatever you feel, I can handle, or whatever's meant for me, let it be. I even thought maybe this is him telling me to relax, take it easy. I'm just on the go. I never relax, like really relax. So then, I had to stay in bed. I couldn't do any physical activity, for like 5 days, 3 to 5 days, they said. I can't take baths. I couldn't shower for 24 hours. So I was like, oh my God, like, if anyone knows me, I take multiple showers or baths. Baths are my favorite. I can't take a bath till tomorrow. But showers, anything, I need to wash myself. So my poor husband, thank God he was helping me. But all these restrictions I couldn't do, which is not like me. I can't stay still. I can't do nothing. My kids are very busy. My daughter had a showcase on Saturday. So Friday, mind you, no one knew. So Friday when we got home before the kids got home from school. When they got home from school, we kind of sat with them, explained to them what happened. And they were worried, but they were more positive than I expected, I thought. My youngest one was the one that was the most worried. My 2 older ones were kind of cracking jokes, I think, because they saw how worried my younger daughter was, and me and their father too. My son even cracked a joke about like, oh, if you need to replace your left boob, you can have mine, something like that. But it woke me up to think, you know what, I do need to relax, because then I don't want to stress them out, and I don't want my kids to feel like they need to comfort us to relax. So that happened. Saturday, my daughter had a showcase, a dance showcase, and I did not want to miss that. So I did attend. I did let them know that I had a procedure done and that I would be leaving right after my daughter performed, just because of the situation. They were fine with that. But then after that, I just stayed home. I have to say I have amazing friends, my tribe. Each of them dropped something off Saturday and Sunday, and it was amazing because it was actually just what I needed. Everything they dropped off, we consumed and we loved. It was just that attention that you need, and they gave me positive outlook, and they just kept supporting me, and it meant the world to me. I don't know if they realized it, but it meant the world to me. So point of my story is, sometimes we need to relax, and sometimes we get things, or things happen to us to open up our eyes. I was listening to a podcast, Jay Shetty, of course, and there was a guest there, I can't remember her name, but she said something. She said, we always try to fight against the problem, the issue, or we try to deny it or put it behind our, instead of handling it and facing it and going through the pain and the emotion and the worry, we try to avoid it somehow. And I have to say, this is the first time I didn't try to avoid it. I was like, let me endure it. and let me analyze it, because sometimes I don't think is that we have to endure it and cry and be sad and be worried. Not to say that I didn't do any of those things, but to analyze it and think, okay, why is this happening? If this happens, am I the first person? No. Will I be the last? No. What is important? How we handle it and how we proceed through it. Friday, I could have easily been like, no, I'm not coming in. I have things going on that I can't come in. Today, I'm actually going away. And I even thought, if I don't get these results by Wednesday, before I go away, I'm gonna be a mess when I go away. So I just said, I'm gonna take it day by day. I'm gonna go through the emotions. If I want to cry, I cry. If I want to sleep, I sleep. If I want to yell, I yell. If I want to analyze it, I analyze it, and I did. And I thought, this is the time for me to relax. And I truly did. I felt that my body needed it. I will say there were moments that I felt tense and tight, and because I was just worried that I was going to get injured or hurt, or my daughter was going to hit me in the area, which she did several times. But it happened. And I remember I even told her, I said, yeah, you hit me 3 times last night. And she said, oh, I did, I'm sorry. And I told her, you shouldn't sleep with me because I have an injury. And I remember I didn't sleep well that first night because I was so alert. And I mean, she woke me up a few times when she hit me, but then I was alert and I wasn't resting. So I told her, but I didn't tell her upset. I just said what it was. She apologized, but she said, she wanted to sleep with me, whatever. But I went through the emotions. I was genuinely in them, regardless what they were, positive, negative, devastating, humbling, just a lot of different emotions. And I'm glad that I went through them with my kids. Sometimes people say, don't tell your kids, or don't tell them till the end. But no, I wanted to go through these emotions with them and have them go through them with me. So when I got the news, one of them was still at school, but then the other 2 were home. So I told them. They were so excited, as was I. My other son was in his bowling club. He had a game or something, so he just texted me back his excitement. So moral of the story, let's try to relax and go through the motions and the emotions, no matter how painful, how worrisome, or how humbling, or how eye-opening they are, because this was truly an eye-opening moment for me. And that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. I know it was a pretty long one, so I apologize, but I am going it a little longer. So let's have an amazing day. Hump day, Wednesday. I did go work out. I wasn't working out today. I worked out, but I took it very light, very, very light. But I'm glad I did, because I needed to move, and I felt that it loosens me up a little. But have a great day. Let's make it a productive one. And let's try to relax and embrace the hard, the scary, the good, the happy, and the joy. Let's embrace it all. All right, so take care till next time, and let's make it a productive one. Bye.